Hello everyone, I am Nikhil Kumar. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to explore user creation and RBAC in AWX. You will learn how to create user, manage their roles and implement RBAC. I will also show you how these roles apply to real world scenarios like automated infrastructure environments. Let's start by creating a user. I will navigate to the user section under the access tab. For this demo, I will create a user named developer1 with a basic password. So I am going to create one user, that is developer1. I'm entering the password, and if you just notice, there are different types of user type in this. One is normal user. Normal user is the one who is not having any edit or execute or update access on this particular AWS instance. System auditor is having access to audit the particular AWS resources, so they won't be able to execute or perform or edit something in the AWS, but they can only view those things. They can just do the audit of those things. Next is a system administrator. System administrator is the one who is having a full access on this particular instance. Just like I'm logged in with the admin user, the admin user is the one who is having a full control on the AWX. So I'm going with the normal user in this particular scenario. I'm tagging this particular user to the org, that is test AWS org. Save. Now we have a developer1 created. This user has normal access. This is the foundation of RBAC control. Next, let's assign developer1 access to a specific project. So for that, where I need to go into the project tab under the resources and need to select one project, that is test project. Inside that, we have a section of access here. Inside this access section, we need to click the add to add the user or teams. I will cover the team in a while. So for now, I'm going with the user. Next, and need to select this particular developer1. And there are different types of access, like admin, who can do everything inside this project. Another is use, that they can use the job template in this particular project. Update, that is used for the developer. Basically, they want to sync something, but they won't be able to edit anything inside this particular project. And last is read. They can only view the settings of the project. They won't be able to do anything. They won't be able to execute anything. So for this, I'm going to go with the update access, because if the developer made some changes into their repository, so they need to sync the changes to the AWS. So for that, they need a update access. This is useful for developer who need to keep their code repository in sync. Now let's assign developer1 access to an inventory. So for that, we need to go inside the inventory, and I'm going to assign that inventory demo and assigning them to use access. So for that, we need to go inside the inventory demo, same with the access tab, and now we need to add the user here. It's the same thing which we did in the projects as well. We need to select the access, and that we need to go with the users and click next, and then we need to select the user, that is developer1. So for that, we are going to give a read access. So basically, this allows the user to view the inventory and its detail, but it prevents them from modifying it. This is a common scenario in an automated infrastructure where developer needs only read access to the resources. So for that, I'm going with the read. Save. Now the developer1 is having a read access to this particular inventory. Finally, let's assign developer1 access to a job template. So for that, I'm going inside the job templates, and I'm giving access to configure load balancer. And for that as well, we need to go inside the job template and click on access tab and click on add again and users. And here I'm going to select developer1 again. And here there are three types of options here, like admin, who can do anything in this particular job template. If they want to modify something or they want to change some settings, they can do those things. Execute is the one who can only execute the job. They won't able to edit those things. And read, they can only view this particular job template, but they won't be able to edit it, and they won't be able to execute it. So I'm going with the execute. Basically, this is ideal for scenarios where developers are responsible for application, but not for making changes to the deployment process itself. Now let's log in as a developer and verify the permission we just assigned. So let me log out from here. Developer1 password. And let's go to the organization first. We can only see this organization. Earlier it was showing 3 organizations, now it's only showing 1 because this particular user is a member of this particular organization. That is, developer 1 is a part of test AWS org. Now let's go to the inventory. We can see only inventory-demo. We won't be able to see rest of the inventories. And if we want to edit something, there is no access to edit this particular thing. If we want to add host, there is no option to add the host as well. We can see these are the IP address which is being added by some another user, but we won't be able to see those things. Let's go to the job, and if we see, we are not getting an option to edit this project as well, but we have an option to sync this particular project. If we want to sync it, we can sync this with the repository, but we won't be able to edit this. Let me sync this and let's see is it working or not. And we are able to sync the project. Now let's execute a job template. So for that we need to go inside the job template, and we can see that this particular user is having an access on this particular job template only, that is to configure the load balancer, but we are not able to edit this particular job template. There is only a launch button to execute this particular job, and we won't be able to make any modification to this. So let's execute this and see that is working fine or not. Basically, execute role allows the job to run, but any attempt to edit the job template would be restricted. This is a perfect example of RBAC in action, limiting access to only what's necessary for that particular users. So it's able to perform the job, it's able to gather the facts. Now it's trying to install the HA proxy on the system. Once it's done, it will configure the rest of the configuration file and restart the service too. This particular demo I have covered in my previous video in the inventory, so I would recommend to check it out so that you can get a better understanding about the inventory in the AWX. It's done. That means we are able to execute this job, but we won't be able to edit and make some modification into the respective resources. Assigning role individually work well for a few users, but in larger teams, managing access at the group level is more efficient. Here I am going to create a dev team and adding multiple users to it. So for that, we need to go inside the Teams tab under the resource. And for that, first we need to log in with the admin user. So I'm logged in with the developer one. Let me go back to the admin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a team. For that, we need to create a dev team. I'm adding it under test AWS org, save. Now we can manage the access in this particular team as well. If we want to add some user in this, so we can add that like this, just like we did in the job template and the projects as well. And we can mention like what kind of access this particular user is having in this. So it should be a member of this particular team. Now, if we see the roles, there is no roles as of now, but I'm going to assign a same role we used earlier for the developer one. So let me go in the projects first, next. And this particular team is having access on this particular project, that is test project, and having a update, that is execute one, that they will be able to sync the project, that is the developer team. Now I'm going to add another resource, that is job template. For that, I'm going to go with the load balancer one, and they will be able to execute it only. That is done. Now I'm going to add an inventory, that is to read this particular inventory, it is inventory demo, and we can give a read access. Now if you notice, this particular dev team is having access on these three resources, that is project, inventory, and job template. And if you see, this particular team is having update access on the project, read access on the inventory, and execute access on the job template. It's similar to the one which we assigned to the user. Now let's add another user into it, that is developer 2. I'm adding as a normal user only and adding it to the organization. Save. I'm going to add one more user, that is developer 3. I'm entering the password for this user, and it's also a developer. So let's add the user into this particular team. So for that, we need to go inside this access and now add the user. That is developer 2 and 3 should be a part of this particular team, and they will be a member of this. they won't be able to modify this. And save. Let's try to log in with the developer 3 now. Let me log in with developer 3. As we can see, this user is a part of this team only, so they can view this particular thing, but they won't be able to manage or edit something in this, and they can see what are the roles are assigned to this particular team. It's same as developer 1, which we did manually for the individual user. If we see, we have a single access on the project, and we can see the inventory, that is inventory demo, and we are having only a read access. Similarly, for the template, we are able to execute it, but we won't be able to modify it. This way, any user added to the dev team will automatically inherit these permissions. Now, let's look at a real-world example. In typical DevOps team, a developer needs to execute, a system admin manage inventories, a manager reviews workflow without making any changes. So for that, I'm going to set up two other users, that is system admin and manager 1. So we already have a developer team. So let me go back to the admin access. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a user, that is sysadmin, and password, and this is a normal user again, and test all. Save. Now we need to manage this particular access. So this particular user should be having an access on the inventory to manage the inventory. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a edit access on this particular inventory to sysadmin user, next, and sysadmin, and this particular user can update the inventory. Save. Now I'm going to add one more user, that is manager. For that, let me go to users, manager, and this should be a system auditor, so they can review the changes, but they won't be able to modify anything. So test AWX org, it's done. Let's log in as each user and see how their permission reflect in their role. So let me log in with the manager first. So we are logged in with the manager, and if we see here, let's go to the project. We are able to see everything, but we won't be able to perform anything here. If you see, action tab is blank. We can see the changes, we can see every information in this. As an audit purpose, we won't be able to execute anything in this. So let's go to the job template. We can see everything, but we won't be able to manage anything. Let's try to log in with the sysadmin. Sysadmin should be having access to the inventory only. So to edit that, let me go to this. I think I missed something. Let me log in again. I think I gave a wrong access to this user. So let me quickly check it. Users, sysadmin, roles. Oh, it's having an update. Let me dissociate it. Inventory demo, and admin. They need to manage everything in this instead of update. Update is kind of execute, so we don't need an execute access on this particular inventory. We need an access to manage this inventory. So let me log in again with the sysadmin now. So let's see, we are able to see anything here. So sysadmin won't be able to see any information inside the template. Similarly, if we go inside this credential, they won't be able to do anything. But ideally, sysadmin should have access to the credential as well, so that they can modify or add the credential of the specific inventory. And if we go inside that, we can add or modify the changes in the inventory. So if we go inside the group, we can modify and we can add the inventory, and we can modify the host inside the inventory as well. So ideally we should give an access to the credential, but I missed that. Now we have explored the user creation and RBAC in AWX. You saw how to create user, assign roles, and verify permission. We also covered group-based role management for larger team and look at real-world example of rollback in action. If you haven't watched my previous videos on organization and job templates, check the playlist link in the description. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you. Have a nice day.